Good morning, everyone. It is Friday. That's training day. Hopefully, you're all joining me. If not, catching the replay on my podcast, The PlayBook. Jakey Baekje, always first online. Justin, welcome, my friend. Andrew, welcome, everyone. 11 a.m. today, you could catch me Pacific time training. Join me. It's on time management. Efficient, effective, and statistically successful with your time. Be productive, accessible, and gracious with your time. Figure and focus in on attention plus intention. Have the coincidences you want in your life with your time. Let me show you how you can get 3 full days of productivity back, or even 2 weeks of vacation for free. All of these can be found with time management. Please join me today at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Love our trainings on Friday. Today is Friday. They're free. So join me and you get my books for free, or the guides for free. All you got to do, email me at david@dmeltzer.com or text me at 949-298-2905. There's what I'm looking for. Although I still think there could be a better message pinned up there. If you ask me, it doesn't really tell too much. So we got to get our stuff together, working as a team and providing value. But as long as I get guys dispelled correctly, we're halfway there. Incredible value provided by Team David Meltzer. How about that? Right below. Ty, welcome. Looking forward to Friday training. I haven't heard from you, buddy. Hope everyone's well in our grand Washington, D.C. area. Happy Friday, everyone. Let's get to the questions. Get those posted. Oop, looks like we swapped. Everyone can see the light. Let me, don't know why that hit. Let's try this again. All right. What message should we send your text number to register for training? What message should we send your text number to register for training? Please register me for training. Can I please have the link at, dmeltzer.com/training? Whatever message you want that would indicate that you want training. Alrighty. How do you deal with disruptions in your calendar? So, there aren't disruptions in my calendar. There's things that I can either do now or I can't do now. So I ask myself, can I do it now? Align it with my values. If I can do it now, I do it now. If I can't, I put it in my calendar for the next day. Prioritize it by what's most important. Calendar, what I do is study it twice a day from 5:30 to 6:30, as well as from 7:30 to 9 p.m. at night. And I utilize that time. I study what I have planned, what I don't have planned, right? So those empty spaces in my calendar, things I don't have planned, allow me to do things now, allow me to schedule things that I may not have expected to schedule. And of course, I study my sleep. So all of those are there. Let's see here. What recommendations would you give to someone that comes to sudden money, 50 million? What recommendations? Go seek mentorship. Go seek mentorship. People that sit in the situation that you want to be in. Learn from their dummy tax. Ask them how best to utilize, considering your timing and your risk tolerance, the $50 million. Ask for help. So very simple how to turn that 50 million into what you want it to be in, by finding people who have already done it and help you do it yourself. So easiest way. No, I wish I did it myself. Way back when. Do you ever use hypnosis? I have used it in the past. Mostly I've experienced it through different shows and fun, but yes, utilized it. It can be very, very effective to transgress and to figure out certain issues. Let's see here. Biggest mistake you made with time management when you were younger. How much younger, right? I've wasted so much time partying. That's probably, I think, the biggest mistake that I make is thinking that, there's no aggregate effect to some of the things that I did, and that the small compromises that I were making had interfered or corroded or put at jeopardy, my divine destiny. And I think it's very difficult when you're young, especially with time management, to realize that, you may have enough time to go do that, but, what's the aggregate effect of that, and balancing that with my values. So it's a good one here. Let's keep them coming. Tips for changing your self-image. Well, first of all, that's a practice, right? So we want to practice growing, accelerating, and expanding. That's changing our self-image. So taking inventory of our values every day and not being afraid to be a hypocrite, working on those values every single day in order to improve, expand, and grow, which will help us with our own self-image. The more that we enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our own potential, then we'll have a better self-image and feel and be able to be aware of that expansion and growth, which takes faith, right, when we can't see it. Do you believe and agree with the term work harder while you're younger so you don't have to work when you're older? I'm not sure I would use the word harder, but yes, if you invest in yourself when you're younger, you won't have to invest as much in yourself when you get older. Although getting in the habit of enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential allows you to enjoy it easier as you get older as well. So all of those types of philosophies of investing in yourself now allow you to have a greater return, compound interest, acceleration, growth, and success in the future. Things do not get harder if you put the work in. The activity you get paid for, activity you don't get paid for. If you stay in the attention and intention of what you want, more and more coincidences will occur. You do get the hockey stick, the exponential growth acceleration, if you stick with that faith. How do you manage your time effectively after a traumatic event? Well, first of all, you got to stop, drop, and roll. So any traumatic event, it could be a subtle one of just being an ego-based consciousness. A traumatic event could be the need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, could be resentful. Any of those could be minor traumatic to very large traumatic events, but any one of them that put you off of center, that cause you to accelerate in the wrong direction, to create void, shortages, and obstacles, to create interference between you and the great source of power, light, love, and lessons, then you got to stop, drop, and roll, right? You stop, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Using your feelings as a thermostat, not your bank account, and go ahead, drop down to center, to neutral, till when you feel good, and then accelerate in the right trajectory. And so those are the best ways to do that. And, there's just varying degrees of traumatic events. Anything that sets you into the wrong trajectory, anything that accelerates you in that direct trajectory is not helping. Does anyone call you daddy? That's nice. Yeah, my kids. I have 4 of them, 3 girls and a boy. Good morning. All right. Hello from Brazil. I loved your Instagram. I'll be here. Good content. Congratulations. Thank you. Well, join me today at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. If you can't make it, I'll send you the replay. I'll send you the free guide. I will send you my book. It doesn't matter. Reach out to me, 949-298-2905. Text me, email me, go to dmeltzer.com/training. It's all pinned below. Check it out. Please invite your friends, family. It's all free. So looking forward to having as many of us. We have thousands registered. So it's been a huge success in my journey of empowering others to empower others to be happy. Tips on not beating yourself up for a period of poor time management. First of all, don't beat yourself up, right? You got to forgive. Number one, people that are grateful don't beat themselves up. They find the light, they find the love, they find the lesson in everything that they do. People that are forgiving absolutely don't beat themselves up. Only one person ever to forgive yourself. Therefore, you can give forgiveness to others. So don't beat yourself up, and especially about time management. Finally, be accountable. You won't beat yourself up if you just ask yourself, what did I do to attract this bad time management to myself, and what am I supposed to learn from it? You can only get better. The better you get with time management, the longer your life will be. I'm going to repeat that because most people don't think about it, but the better you get at time management, the longer that your life will be. Guaranteed. That's productive, accessible, and gracious in its own nature about how and what we can do with time. We can bend time Have you ever wondered why Tom, when you look backwards, is so fast, and when you look forward, it's so long? It's supposed to be a man-made construct, a constant, but it's not. You can bend it with gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication. How do I see things the way they are? Practice. So the things that you see, you give meaning to. The things that you see, you have intended to be there. Those are the first two steps in understanding why you see and what you see. And so if you remind yourself that I've given everything meaning that I see, and I've intended everything I see to be there. Those are two great things to help you in that understanding. How do I see things the way they actually are? Oh, I thought I answered that, but maybe the question was in there twice. Here we go. How do you choose what you get involved in when they all align with your purpose, but time is not favored? How do you choose what you get involved with? So you have to take inventory of your values and prioritize them by what's most important first according to your values. Not other people, but your personal values, your experiential values, your giving values and receiving values. And that's how we utilize in our students of our calendar, right? We are looking at what we have planned, what we don't have planned for the day, and of course our sleep. And we are aligning them, making it synergistic and supplementary to the personal, experiential, giving and receiving values that we have. Okay? So go ahead and use that as a practice, and you'll find some great successes in what we do. Hi, Dave. Looking confident in feeling confident. Maynard, thank you. Looking good there. What are the differences of working hard and working smart? So, for me, working hard is an interesting thing because I'd rather you enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. Obviously, working smart is about being efficient and effective in that activity. And for me, working long, meaning without quit, that consistency, working long with faith that we haven't seen the outcome that we are looking for, but we have faith that if we do and enjoy the activity that we get paid for and that we don't get paid for every day consistently and persistently, and if we enjoy that the outcome not only will come, but it will come more rapidly and accurately than we ever anticipated. And so there's the nuance between working hard, smart, and long, which are all great things to do. When do you know that it's the right time to take a leap of faith? Daily, according to my values. I'm always taking a leap of faith because there's so much uncertainty in what I'm doing. So I'm having faith that I'm going to expand and accelerate and grow. I have faith that I'm always connected to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons, and that I'm creating an interference through different behaviors and ideas and thoughts and beliefs that I have. So always take a leap of faith in the trajectory of my values into what I believe, not being afraid of being a hypocrite, and changing my mind and growing and accelerating. What advice do you give to someone who wants to start a social media marketing company during this pandemic? Start, ask for help. Absolutely huge opportunities. Look for the new problems which present new opportunities, and especially in the social media marketing space, look to see where your capabilities are synergistic or supplementary to different businesses that are doing well, and how can you market those, or companies that have just been stable and see how you can market those. Or maybe you have an emotional tie-in or an aspect of something you think that will do well, either pre or post-vaccine, and see how synergistic and supplementary your capabilities in the marketing space are to those. But absolutely, the best advice I can give to someone who wants to start any type of company right now is do it and go ask for help, someone that sits in the situation that you want to be in. And so there's a lot of opportunity. You can email me and I can help you with that as well, david@dmeltzer.com, if you have questions about that. How do you deal with team members who seem ungrateful? Well, first of all, you shouldn't have a need to be offended. And so if people seem ungrateful on your team, then you may want to see why, right? You may want to see why. but you yourself have no need to be offended. If they're not grateful or forgiving or accountable, then you can kick them off your team, right? That's something that I'm learning here is that, no need to be offended, no need to be resentful, just kick them off your team. If they're not aligned with your values and, they can't do what you need them to do, which is usually why you feel they're not grateful, right? So if you tell your team members to show up to something and they're not there, or you tell your team members to do something and they don't do it, get them off your team. If you got a team and your third hitter strikes out every time or doesn't show up to the game, why is it any different? Right? Why is it any different? All right, I think Alicia's here, and we'll uh, great empowerment of creativity. And there's Alicia right there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Kazi Goods, I am very familiar with. Obviously, I've done a lot of work in Africa, but figuring out how we can empower people to create sustainable business models, to help other people, to use their skills and creativity to expand and accelerate not only the economy, but their own empowerment of giving somebody that fulfilling, not only desire, but fulfilling purpose that allows them to continue to expand and grow. And I wanted to thank you for starting Kazi Goods and helping thousands and thousands of people reach their own destinies as well. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for appreciating the work.
I'm always curious, like how it evolves, because I know it's coincidental, and I believe attention plus intention equals coincidence. But I don't think people realize how something that big can start so small. So I was hoping you could share kind of the journey of the overnight success of Kazi Goods.
Yeah, happy to. So shortly after college, I went on a trip to Africa, had a travel bug, and saw doctors and nurses going to Sierra Leone. And so it was kind of like, well, I can't not go. I want to see the whole world. And so let me go to Sierra Leone. Africa and Antarctica were both on the list of travel destinations. And when I was there in the village, what I saw was that people had lack of access to education, healthcare, water. But really, when I looked at it, I studied economics in school, and it came down to jobs and just like the opportunities in the economy. If people had jobs, they could afford to go to the doctor, doctors could afford to be doctors, right? So when I came back to the US, it was how do we create sustainable jobs? How do we empower these men and women to not just need, the missionary or the temporary traveler to come over and to help, but to build something sustainable? And so we started out with chicken and egg farms, pineapple plantations, lots of different ways to create local jobs. But what we found was there wasn't enough money in the local economy to actually change their lives. And so then we looked at what could we export? What were natural materials or natural talents that we could add value to, and then find a higher wage elsewhere and introduce new money into the economy. And so that's where we built a basket business, which it wasn't the intent, but now we employ 3,625 men and women. And send more kids to school than what we ever thought. So I think there's 21,050 kids that are in school, where before with school sponsorships and, healthcare clinics, it was, we were talking about 300 to 500 at the time.
It's so interesting how in philanthropy, and I've spent, decades surrounding myself with the right purposes and causes, myself being chairman of the Unstoppable Foundation, which we build villages and community centers and colleges and high schools in Kenya, mostly in the Bugani and the Maasai. But, I early on in my philanthropic career would get a lot of, pushback, feedback about the capitalistic attitude that I took, that like you, I believe that money utilized or spent in the right way could create all the changes, and that we actually, by creating programs that aren't funded, would create even more deficiencies, more void shortages and obstacles from what we were trying to do. And even with the start of my business, Sports One Marketing, we made our motto, make a lot of money so we could help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. I even sponsored my kids' high school scoreboard, and they wouldn't put up, in several universities as well, they wouldn't put up my make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. They would switch it around to help a lot of people, to raise a lot of money and have a lot of fun. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
No,
You
no, no.
can't have,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
It
And
really
honestly,
doesn't.
we all want jobs, right? I mean, we're seeing it in this economy, like, and we're feeling it more than ever. Like, we want to work, we want to provide for our own family, you know. I mean, maybe unemployment right now has some different incentives for people that we're reading out there that, you know, aren't like a normal situation, but in general, like, we all want to have that dignity, and that requires money to be made. So like every human on this planet has that desire, you know, to make money, to take care of their family, to, you know, do better for themselves and for the world. And yeah, I think that's really important.
It's funny too, because self-worth, I made huge mistakes at a young age too, that I defined my complete self by how much money I made. And I like to tell people I just consider it an ingredient in the mercury in my thermostat of how I feel, right? My
Mhm.
whole mission in life has shifted to empower people to be happy. In fact, over 1 billion people. So people like you fit right into my mold of someone who I think can empower over 1,000 people to empower another 1,000 to be happy. And a big ingredient of that mercury is the ability not just to, actually make the money, but to produce and be productive and enjoy that consistent and have something to look forward to. And it's so expansive when you allow someone to create instead of sit there and worry and create. On the opposite, I think, depreciate compared to appreciate. What do you think it is about money that, although we can't allow it to define us, that when we do make it, right, when we create someone and we sell something that we created with our hands, especially, that it makes us feel so good?
I think it's just knowing that we're capable and that we're needed, right? That something needs us, that we have value. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that that's what we see in the villages. That it's like they're going from being subsistence farmers, right, making maybe 40 cents a day, to making something with their hands that's returning, you know, 10 to 15 times more than that. And they're saying like, wow, I can do this. Like somebody somewhere, they keep asking, where are all these Americans and how big are their houses that they just keep buying all of our baskets? You know, and so it's like, but to know that that's of value to somebody, that they're creating something that somebody wants every time. Yeah, I think that's something that's really unique about like earning money and like the value of, yeah, just helping.
And last thing, there's an abundant attitude and an energy in Africa from all the traveling that I've done. And I have a story about uh, a Mama Jane, who created this merry-go-round where everyone saved $1 and then gave it to one woman in the village so that they would have overflow or a windfall to buy, a brick machine or a sewing machine or something. And it
Mhm.
created a huge economy. But it was so interesting because Mama Jane lived in a home. He still had a dirt floor, but she was the first one to get a satellite TV, and she's the head mama of all the mamas. And one of my camera guys that was there asked her, said, "Oh, don't aren't people jealous of you?" And she was so taken back. It was so amazing. It was one of the best moments because she looked at him so confused and said, I'm not sure what you mean. Why would they be jealous of me?" "Well, when they come here, they see that you have a satellite and a TV. Doesn't that make all the other villagers and mamas jealous of you?" And she said, "No, no, that's why they come here, because they want to learn how I got it."
Yeah.
And here you have people that have very little compared to what we have, obviously in the United States. But in some respects, I just think they live in a world of more than enough, and that I have friends with multi-million-dollar homes that are so scarce and live in a world of not enough, no matter
Hmm.
what they have. And I would love to be able to share, why you think they can be so abundant and happy, even though materialistically they have, just the bare minimum.
I think it's just because they live in the present, right? And we see that even a little bit with the like poverty mentality, that like planning, you know, a week ahead, a month ahead, a year ahead, depending on what level of like, you know, subsistence living that they live in, they're not seeing all the way down the line. And so I think a lot of times we cast a lot of worry on like how we're paying our mortgage 5 years from now, or what our neighbor's going to think of us next month, or the car and the value. But I think that we're not really aware that we're not living in the present, that we're really focused on the future and what's coming down the line or what could happen, and all of this worry and anticipation kind of overcomes us. And I think that whenever I've come across people in different parts of Africa, it's like they're very much like their conversation with them then and there. And so yeah, that to me is the definition of they're just being present. But I think also on
Yeah.
that, just to elaborate, what I found when I was thinking about your story around jealousy, is that when I was going to Africa early on, I was spending time in the village in Rwanda, and I was kind of wearing my hand-me-downs or my clothes that I was going to leave behind, and it was like my Africa outfits kind of thing. And to me, it was like, I don't want to dress up. I don't want to show off. I don't want to stand out. I don't want to be this like elaborate American. And I remember like doing that for 2 or 3 years. And this was when I started running the company. And like year 3, finally, I was hosting an investor or somebody in the village, and I wore, a nice dress, a long dress, and some wedge heels. And it's like dirt village, like roads and mud and all this stuff. And everyone was laughing at me for wearing heels, but the women started cheering. And they were all clapping when I arrived at the center. And they're like, our boss, look at her. She looks so beautiful. Finally, something to aspire to, and it was something around that, like, I am, the leader, and they want to see like the example set that they can achieve, right? Versus something, behind them. And I thought that was really interesting. Just a really interesting, like they weren't jealous of it. They weren't like, oh, she's like trying to flaunt her wealth or, stand out. But like now we have something to look up to. And I thought that was, yeah,
Yeah, that is awesome. It is a different energy. And last thing, real quickly, to building that business. There's so many lessons. I go back to Africa almost every year and have learned more from my experiences there than anything else that I've done in my whole life. In fact, I always say that the journey I had when I was 50 to build 2 community centers, and the lessons that I learned through that were extraordinary. Has there been a life-changing lesson or one of the lessons that you could share with us?
For me, it's just perseverance. I mean, it's just like having optimism and perseverance through all that, like, we're going to make it through. And I say that like from a business owner, I say that from seeing things in Africa, people experiencing challenges or learning how the women have overcome, experiencing genocide, that they're still optimistic and hopeful that their country is going to change and that they're going to have a leader. And so through this whole time, there's been not just COVID, not just like our current, situation that we're living in, but there's been times where it's like, is this the new reality, or do I just need to accept that, this is, what it is, and persevering through those challenges, but having hope and optimism that it's going to actually change, has been my biggest like reminder and lesson through this all. And so, yeah, whatever comes, it's like, all right, we got this. Like, what's the plan? How are we going to do it? And we're going to keep moving forward.
Well, thank you for your kindness and perseverance. You're changing so many lives. And, I've been blessed to be there and see the great work of Kazi Goods. Where can people find you?
Kazigoods.com. Awesome gifts, home decor, lots of fun things that are employing people in Africa.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Alicia Wallace. We'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. You can do good, make money, help people have fun. You never know when you're open where those opportunities will come from or through you to others. You can change thousands and thousands of lives, as of course Alicia is proving. And go to kazigoods.com, find some great artifacts and authentic things that can not only make you feel good, but make the people who made them feel good and empower them and change an entire culture. One that has not only a lot of growth potential, but also a lot of teaching potential. We can learn a lot from people who live in the present, that are living an abundant life and are aspiring to be what they can be. great lessons and great attitudes. Thank you, everyone. We're going to talk about time management today at 11 a.m. Pacific. Join me at training. If you don't get it, it is Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. If you don't get it on a Friday, the replays are at the PlayBook. That's my podcast. You can grab it on Mondays. The podcast is every day. The replays are always available. You can either text me at 949-298-2905 or email me at david@dmeltzer.com. Let's take a quick question before we have our next guest come on. Let's see here. What do you think about your president? The president of the United States or my wife? What do I think about the president of the United States? I think there's a lot of lessons that we're going to learn. That's what I think. I think there's a great opportunity to learn and to grow and accelerate. And we can look at him and learn a lot of lessons. And I think especially about ego. And so, we are in compressed times of uncertainty, and we can learn how to accelerate in the right direction. So everyone take the lessons, vote for what you want in your life, elect what you want in your life. That's something I teach and I live by, and I will do my best to vote for and elect what I want in my life, internally, externally, etc. Very, very important. Benjamin, welcome, my friend. Here we go. David, you wear a white shirt. Why did you wear a white shirt? This is the Rose Bowl shirt. I sit on the board of the Rose Bowl Legacy Committee, and for the legacy of the Rose Bowl here in the United States, the granddaddy of them all, an unbelievable stadium, and just so grateful to be a part of the Rose Bowl. Incredible institution. And let's see here. Should you start your company in California or start it in another state due to it being cheaper if you don't? So when people ask you questions like that, you need to have information, right? So if it was obvious that people should start a company outside of the California, then nobody would start a California company. So what you want to do is see what your critical business issues are and be able to align them with your values and your business. There's multiple different places for multiple different reasons and what you value in order to establish and to start a company in a certain state. But the best way to find out is to seek expertise and mentorship. People that have had the situation and experience of why would you start a company in Florida, Montana, Delaware, Nevada, or California. There's varying degrees of information out there. And the bigger lesson is you should seek it. Be more interested than interesting to figure out where that is. So Nick has a different one, the NRG 404004. Let me look for that. We'll let Nick Green. It's a different one than what I had there, Blaine. Stable data from my boy Jakey Baekje. He's probably not even here anymore. Why don't you tell me, Jakey, who exactly is supposed to be here? I'll answer another question. Nick Green, if you're here, would love to see you from the Thrive market. I see they're giving me notes, but I do not see. There we go. Hey, I got you. Awesome. Perfecto. Oh, where'd you go, Nick? I had you. Let's try one more time. No, will not let me go. All right, try me again. Nick, if you don't mind, reach out, put yourself, make a request. I would love to have you join me. Welcome, 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 everyone. Let's take another question while we wait for Nick Green. It's not allowing me to join him. What is one single piece of advice you would offer? How or would you have you implemented that single? Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. That's the one piece of advice that I would offer. No matter what circumstance you're in, how you're feeling, think about how you could be of service or of value to others and do a good deed. Pick up trash, put a cart back, pick up someone, hug, smile, whatever it may be to help. You'd never know how much of an impact you're going to have by doing one simple good deed. I do know one thing, that the truth vibrates the fastest, and that happiness will be spread and shared when you do a good deed. And that's the best thing that you can do, because you're clearing that connection to what you're already connected to, this great source of light, love, and lessons. Looking for Nick Green. Come on, my friend. Give me back here. Hopefully you're there. Will not looking in there for energy. 4044, my friend. There we are. Anyway, let me answer another question. Looking for the up there is Nick. He says I'm here. And let's see. I got you, Nick. It just was not allowing me to connect. So thank you for putting that there. How are you? Bum bum bum. Welcome. We did it.
We're on. Sorry about that.
No problem, man.
I've been locked out of the Thrive Market Instagram account.
Nice.
Founder and CEO can't get into my own Instagram account, so I'm on my personal.
That's all right, man. Well, I am really excited about Thrive Market, because one of the frustrations I have about organic food is that, I'm not into things that separate us. And it historically has been something socioeconomically has separated us, that we can't provide better nutrition to people that can afford it and can't afford it. And, Thrive Market is something that I've thought about, and I'm so proud that you're doing it, because you're making organic, healthy food available to everybody. And I think the gift of life is such an essential gift. How, number one, did you come up with the idea? And, give us a little bit of background on what exactly Thrive Market's doing to allow that to happen.
Well, first of all, thank you for that framing and those comments, because you actually hit right at our mission, which is to make healthy living accessible for every American family. There's a lot of conversations around inequality right now in our country. And one of the most significant areas of inequality is food inequality. And if you're in LA, New York, San Francisco, and you've got a lot of disposable income, it's easy to find good, healthy food. But when you're in a lot of parts of this country and you're, everyday working class American or even middle class American, it's pretty expensive and pretty challenging to eat healthy. So, the way Thrive Market works is we have a membership model, just like Costco. You pay $60 a year, get access to a full catalog of health food products that are available basically at wholesale prices. So we ship natural and organic versions of products at the price of conventional equivalents. And the idea came actually from my co-founder, who grew up on a communal farm in Ojai, California, where they were doing group buying of organic products back in the 70s and 80s. It's basically a hippie commune. And meanwhile, I was growing up in the Midwest in one of these health food deserts with a mom who was trying to get healthy. And when we met, I was like, I wish we'd had the commune in Minnesota. And our goal is basically to bring that kind of community to everywhere in the country.
That is awesome. I've always had this one idea, and maybe Thrive Market can incorporate it into their business model. But it just seemed to me ironic that in the public spaces where they're planting, trees or bushes or this, like I never understood why they couldn't plant oranges and peaches and it never made sense to me. Like, why don't we make food free, organic fruit? And maybe I come from, a more kibbutz type of commune where people literally, it's just part of the society to communally provide, healthy food. We have such an advanced society. Sometimes we look past the obvious benefit of having such an advanced society where we could provide free food, healthy food, organic food to every single child and family in America, quite simply by directing our public funds, our tax dollars, towards the appropriate things, including memberships, the Thrive Market. And just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Obviously, with what's going on today, healthy food's even more important. A lot of people don't know, but kids get fed through school, and we may not have school again in the fall. And I am trying to fight really hard, because I know if we can provide education and food to kids, that we're securing our future in this great country. And people seem to think, that a tree grows with no seeds or without water. And so what are some of the things that you think that we could do to help feed those children in utilizing Thrive Market?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of good stuff you just mentioned, and such important things for more people to be aware of. I think, sometimes we take for granted the way food works in our country. It's just the way it is. But to your point, you go in other parts of the world, and like, my wife is from Spain. You go to any of the sort of, the plazas in Spain, and there's fruit trees, right? You literally like it's growing around. And I think there's exciting stuff happening with urban gardening, which is a whole different topic here in the US, and people making their own food. But as you pointed out, right now, most people in the U.S. don't make their own food. It is easier and cheaper to get highly processed, unhealthy, sugar-laden food for most families than it is to get simple organic products, and that's crazy, right? Like, why should it be more? Why should it be easier to get a product that has a gazillion artificial ingredients made in a lab than to get a simple, organic product? And so we're trying to correct that. And as you said, I think the stakes are higher than ever right now. COVID-19, it affects everybody, but if you're a working class family, a single parent, if you don't have childcare, if you're in a school district that doesn't have great technology options, if you don't have an internet connection or don't have a computer, really, really tough time for a lot of families in fundamental ways like education and in fundamental ways like food. So, when COVID started, we launched our COVID-19 relief fund and actually called on our 900,000 plus members to donate a portion of their savings at checkout to the shopping budgets of families directly affected by. All of it's going towards grocery stipends for those families. I actually donated my salary for the rest of this year to that cause. And look, that in the grand scheme of things, we're trying to raise $1 million. It's still a drop in the bucket, right? So our goal is to, yes, make an impact, but also just inspire everybody to feel empowered to be part of person. Somehow kids got to be getting educated, and we have to find a solution as a society for kids that were getting their lunch at school and may not have those options at home. So, we're doing everything we can, but unfortunately, that's not a problem that Thrive Market can solve alone.
No, not at all. But I think educating that market is something that you guys are doing, and
Totally.
accelerating and expanding the knowledge of what we can do, and have other people like myself thinking about solutions and how we can impact. Real quickly, how much, an estimate, does it cost at wholesale through Thrive Market to have a monthly budget for organic food per person? What would be a fair budget for someone to eat through Thrive Market for the month?
That's a great question. I don't know what the exact estimate would be. It depends if you're talking about an adult or a child. We usually think about it in terms of size of household. And, someone that is buying so we sell all the non-perishable products that you find in the grocery store. So we're not going to sell your fresh food, but if you can save 25 to 50% on your non-perishable, then you can actually spend more on higher quality fresh food. So, families are spending hundreds of dollars a week on their food budgets in many cases. At least, even if they're really trying to be tight, hundreds of dollars a month. And so, our typical order size is close to $100. And some of those people might be ordering weekly, some of them might be ordering monthly. The key thing is, if you're saving 25 to 50% on your grocery bill, that $100, you're saving $30 plus on the groceries. And our annual membership fee is $60. So we want it to be a no-brainer. In 2 purchases, you can make that back in savings. And we want to take away that tough choice of like, oh, I'd like to eat healthy, but it's cheaper to go and just buy the unhealthy stuff. And so, we're not pegging our products to like, can we be cheaper than Whole Foods in this product? We're saying, can we sell it cheaper than the unhealthy product at the corner store? And I think that's the part that makes it easy for people. And if they can be saving $30 every time they do their groceries, that adds up over the course of a year.
And finally, they add up on the convenience of having it delivered as well. What's the turnaround on delivery?
It was its own major challenge because we had to make sure that they were staying safe and socially distanced. We've increased our inventory by millions of dollars, and literally shipped over 30 million products since the pandemic began. So there were times where it was taking a few days to get products out. Today, we're shipping everything in under 12 hours, and most when there's a lot of people that don't want to or even can't leave their homes, it's more than just a convenience, right? It's a necessity. And then even in a normal time, there's obviously families that don't live near health food stores. So we want it to be convenient for those that do, and a better thing than going to the corner store. And we want it to be that necessity for those people that just don't have any other options.
What's the last question, real quick? What's the number one kind of food whether it's high fructose or whatever? What's the number one culprit that you think is destroying our societal health? That's that convenience store food that everyone's buying, and what would be the replacement at the Thrive Market for that product?
Ooh, that is a great question. I would say the general thing, which is the no-brainer, is just sugar, right? Added sugar. Anytime you see sugar added to products, and there's so many products that you would never even guess there's sugar. So many products you wouldn't even imagine. So anything that's got high fructose corn syrup should basically be taken off. And you're just not going to find a single product on Thrive that has high fructose corn syrup. I think another issue that people are not as aware of, but getting more aware of, is GMO. And it's not because GMO is bad in and of itself, but when you're genetically modifying plants to sustain basically toxic pesticides like glyphosate, which we now know is a carcinogen, that's a real issue. And so, I think to me, that's the strongest argument for eating organic consistently. For a lot of people, that's not an option all the time, but the more you can do it, the better. And so those would be my two big things, is like, don't eat high fructose corn syrup. Anything that has it, we've got an alternative. And then don't eat GMO. And for us, the entire catalog is non-GMO on the food side.
Perfect. And where can they order at Thrive Market? Is it thrivemarket.com?
Yeah, so you can go to thrivemarket.com. You can sign up for a membership. The first 30 days is risk-free. So if you want to get out of it, you can get your money back on the membership, try it out. And then you also get a free gift that can be valued up to $25 in your first order.
That's very cool.
And
I'm doing a pitch competition in a couple weeks, and I'm putting together the first, second, and third place prizes. So I'm now adding a membership to Thrive Market to my winner, my pitch competition, because I want the entrepreneur that I help and the business that I grow to make sure they're sustainable beyond the business being sustainable. Everybody knows a great leader can make a great company, and I think having fed and fueled a great leader is so important, and that's what Thrive Market's doing, is creating leaders of the future, believe it or not. And I appreciate Nick Green. I think the name says it all, no doubt. Unbelievably, he has that last name Green, and he's growing so many different things for so many different people. Check him out at Thrive Market. I appreciate you withstanding the conflict of Instagram to get on here. I don't know why they kicked you off, but welcome back. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, David. Really appreciate it. And just really quickly, to any families out there that are being directly affected by COVID-19, you get a free membership and grocery stipends on Thrive. Email COVID-19relief@thrivemarket.com.
Perfect. Thank you,
Thanks,
Nick.
David.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Another great entrepreneur doing more great things. That's why I do this every day. That's why we do our trainings for free every Friday, and the replays are there more and more. 20 years, over 20 years, I've been doing free trainings for people to help them. It's at 11 o'clock today, Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Ty Lopez, I see you there, my friend. You are an extraordinary person, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your service. David at dmeltzer.com if you need anything as well. I'm going to go get ready for, in a couple hours, that super training on time management. I'm going to make you more efficient, effective, and statistically successful. I'm going to make you more productive, accessible, and grateful for everything that you have. I want to thank Alicia and Nick for all that you do in helping building our world to be a better place. Thank you, everybody. If you don't come to training today, make sure you catch the replay. Make sure you have a great weekend. And most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds.